Hi guys, it's Stacy from Clothes Live On, and we are doing a what sold. I said on Wednesday that I wasn't up for making one in terms of the second week of April because my sales were worse than the first week, which weren't great. So stimulus checks went out on Wednesday though, which is what that video was about. I talked about how sales are actually picking up. It's a good time to list. I stand by that. It's still a good time to list. And I wanted to talk about my sales since Wednesday because that stimulus money is out and buyers have returned for the most part. I don't expect that to like hold true. And I know there's a lot of people who need that money to feed their family. And I hope that if anyone who got the stimulus check needs it for things that aren't close, that they're spending it on that. I will never fault someone for not spending their money on clothing right now when the economy is just garbage and a lot of people, you know, are laid off from their jobs and things like that. However, I think a lot of people who got a stimulus check weren't necessarily relying on that money. So I did see an uptick in my sales, specifically over the last 4 days. So that is Wednesday through Saturday. I sold nearly $700 in products. I was specifically $693. I sold 29 items. So that is an increase in my sales compared to the rest of this month, how quarantine has been going in general. So that's a relief a little bit. Like I said, I don't expect it to hold true. Honestly, I think that my sales won't be okay again for a long time. You know, we just aren't going to return to normal anytime soon. And until people have a consistent paycheck again, for sure, I don't think that things will be okay. It's an unfortunate time to be a full-time reseller, but it is what it is. And like I said, right now my sales are up and I am just ecstatic about that. I really needed that kind of just to like reassure me that things will be okay, because sometimes it's just hard to see that big picture that like I will be okay. Even with my downtick in sales, I know that I will be okay. I have to keep that in mind. Like, I mean, financially, obviously, if I contract COVID, I don't know if I'll be okay. Anyway, let's talk about the sales. And as always, I will put screenshots up here. If you are new to my channel, I am a full-time reseller, like I said, but I run a different business model than most people where I actually send out 50% offers to likers on Poshmark. I do it via bundle. I do not offer shipping discounts at all. I haven't offered a single shipping discount since the increase in the shipping cost on Poshmark. I just don't do discounted shipping or free shipping on that platform anymore with the 20% fee. It's too much. But instead I offer 50% off. I consider that to just be my lowest. I'm essentially sending people my lowest and I send them a message. It does help my sales. I think people like to feel like they're getting a steal, so that has helped my sales. And this, you're going to see a couple sales where I took slightly below 50%, like I think $3 to $5 max off of that 50%. Typically I stand firm on 50% is my lowest, and I will counter until I die at 50%. But since my sales have really been hurting, there was a few on the 15th that I did take slightly below 50% because I needed to see some sales. But like I said, typically that is essentially me sending out my rock bottom, and I will counter back and counter back and counter back at 50% if people try and go lower than that. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me in case you didn't know. All right, so let's jump into the sales. First sale was over on eBay because I do sell on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. I sold a pair of Tom's sneakers. These were a collab with Claire V. So they were pink sneakers. They were a little like beat up. So they only sold for $10. They took 15 days to sell. And like I said, that was on the 15th. We're going to have a bunch from the 15th, and I will just let you know when we take over into the 16th. All right, next was also an eBay sale. I sold Banana Republic Avery floral pants. They sold for $11. They did have like a snag in them, so they sat forever for me. They were definitely a bad buy. They took 246 days to sell. These were from the bins though, so they were very low cost, but I don't know. If you miss a flaw, sometimes it can really, really hurt them selling. Next, over on Mercari, I sold a blank NYC suede skirt. Really cute. It had grommets on it. It sold for $30 and it took 188 days to sell. On Poshmark, I sold a bundle of 2 items. I sold a Lululemon jacket, and then I sold a Free People maxi dress. Combined, that bundle sold for $50. Now I think the actual half off would have been $55, so I did take $5 below the half off price. The jacket took 97 days to sell, and then the dress took 282 days to sell. All right, also on Poshmark, I sold a pair of Levi's denim shorts. They sold for $15. They took 305 days to sell. Sat forever. I'm not sure why, because I've had some luck with Levi's I've listed more recently, so I don't know. It's just kind of how reselling goes sometimes. All right, also on Poshmark, I sold a Nike vest. This sold for $18 and it took 85 days to sell. Another bundle on Poshmark, I sold a Market and Spruce tank top and then a Lucky Brand long sleeve shirt. It was like this really pretty Asian print. That bundle collectively sold for $25, so it did sell for the actual half off price. The Market and Spruce top took 76 days to sell and the Lucky Brand top took 68. All right, and then the last sale for the 15th is another bundle of 3 items this time. I sold Ash sneakers. Those took 247 days to sell. I sold a Fleurite tank, which is an Anthropologie brand. That took 176 days to sell. And then I sold a Splendid short sleeve top that took 111 days to sell. Collectively, that bundle sold for $30. I believe the half off price would have been $33, so I just didn't bother to counter at that price because they bundled and sent me the offer of $30, so I just took that. But those 2 bundles are the only ones where I took below 50% off, and like I said, normally I don't do that. Okay, so now we're moving on to the 16th. First on eBay, I sold Hunter tall rain boots. Those sold for $70. They took 35 days to sell. And actually to the same buyer, I sold Hunter flats. Those sold for $33 and they also took 35 days to sell. Those were listed on the same day, went to the same buyer. That one I can actually guarantee is not stimulus check related because that was selling through the global shipping program, so it wasn't staying in the US, but it's still a sale that I had during these last 4 days. Okay, now continuing on with the 16th, on Poshmark, I sold a Free People coat. It sold for $38. It took 205 days to sell. These were kind of a bad buy. I actually bought 5 of them at Last Chance, and I only just this week started selling them. So I sold this one, and earlier in the week I sold another one. So I have 3 left, and obviously I've had them for a while, so shouldn't have bought those, but it is what it is. Hopefully the other 3 will sell. And if you like that coat, I have 2 more in a small and 1 more in a medium, I want to say. Okay, next on Poshmark, I sold a J. Crew coat. It sold for $40 and it took 177 days to sell. And the last item from the 16th is a pair of Ted Baker shorts. Those sold for $16 and they took 107 days to sell. Okay, on the 17th, I only had 2 sales. First one was on Poshmark. I sold a Lululemon long sleeve top. It sold for $10 and it took 100 days to sell. And the reason it got such a low price point is it actually had some stains on it. So I missed those, and then I obviously couldn't get as much money for it. And the other item was on Mercari. I sold a Le Sport sack, like little rabbit print bag. It was really cute. It sold for $28. I probably could have gotten more, but it was missing the crossbody strap that was supposed to go with it. It actually sold the same day it was listed though. So that was really nice. Okay, now the last of the sales are going to be from the 18th. So on Poshmark, I sold an Aerie bralette that sold for $7. It took 1 day to sell. That was one of my donated items, so I didn't pay anything for it. And same with the Le Sport sack. Next on Poshmark, I sold a pair of Tom's sneakers. They sold for $10. I believe these were also a little dirty, which is why they sold so low, and they took 170 days to sell. Again on Poshmark, I sold frame jeans. These sold for $50 and they took 85 days to sell. On Poshmark, I sold a pair of Tom's Ibiza sandals. They sold for $25 and they took 110 days to sell. On Poshmark, I sold Torrid jeans. These were from the ThredUp box. They sold for $17 and they took 14 days to sell. On Poshmark again, we only have a few more Poshmark sales, then we're going to move on. Poshmark, I sold a pair of Madewell like Moto jeans. These were a little damaged. They had some loose threads. They sold for $25 and they took 51 days to sell. I also on Poshmark sold a, I think it's Baya Johnny Was dress, embroidered, very pretty. It sold for $90 and it took 30 days to sell. And then the last Poshmark sale for this video was a Free People tank top. It sold for $10 and it took 151 days to sell. I think style-wise it didn't do great because it actually did have tags on it still, so that's a really low price point for something that's new with tags and Free People, but I think it's just not a sought-after style and therefore it wasn't a good buy. Okay, and then lastly I have two Mercari sales. First, I sold RSQ men's jeans. These again were from that ThredUp box. They sold for $18, which was my full asking price, and they took 8 days to sell. And then the last thing that sold was a donated item to me, so I sold a Truck Fit camo like baseball cap that sold for $17 and it took 1 day to sell. So that is everything that sold since stimulus checks went out to some people, not everyone. Like I didn't get one and I think that I'm supposed to be getting one. But it has really helped my sales. I'm so thankful for that. I don't expect this to last forever. But I do know that, like I said, some people who are expected to get them haven't received their stimulus check. So this might continue on for a while where I see an increase in sales, and that is just so nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching and I will talk to you later. Bye.